students, I'm going to talk a little bit about Chapter 6 and some of the more advanced skills to build upon the ones we talked about last week in Chapter 5. Before you start your interview, you're probably going to want to think about some prescribed questions of information you want to get from the client. So you use this as a way to kind of prepare or anticipate. You don't just start meeting with the client, have them walk in and not have a clue about what direction you need to go. One of the areas that's helpful sometimes is a skill of summarization. This is where basically you're putting information together into a collective response or a summary. It includes both a reflection of content and feeling. It's delivered in a statement. So you basically are summarizing what the previous session was as you start off your beginning session. So for example, you might say, Mr. Smith, we spent the last couple of sessions, and particularly last week, talking about some of the difficulties your daughter Tina is bringing into your marriage, and that it's really caused a lot of stress and tension between you and your wife. Is that something you'd like to continue with today, or are you ready to kind of move into talking more about the marital challenges that you're facing? That would be an example of a summarization. It wraps up what you talked about the previous week. It kind of gives a lead in for what direction you want to go into for the next week. You want to use summarization to help you identify key aspects of a client's message over time. You will start hearing some things kind of being repeated, so summary allows you to do that. It can allow you to focus the interview. Sometimes clients are all over the place. They've got so many things going on. So the example of Mr. Smith, he might have talked about his daughter Tina, he might have talked about the stress in the marriage, but he also talked about how he comes home from work and he's tired and his wife hasn't done this, and so his job's frustrating, so all of a sudden you've got some themes with his job coming in. So summarization allows you to kind of focus a little bit. It allows you to also kind of put things together in a coherent whole. It allows you to make sure that you're on the right track with the client. So when you issue these statements, you can then ask them, am I going in the right direction? Is this your understanding? So use it a way for kind of checking in with the client. It can also, you can use the client's actual own words to kind of empower them and say, you said last time that it really pissed you off when your daughter did blah, blah, blah. And sometimes that's just helpful for them to hear it put in their own words. Another skill is information giving, and this is one that social workers have a great deal of knowledge and information that we can use to help our clients with. Information is power, and part of our job is to empower our clients. So we can do that by giving them information. Because we deal with so many different situations, problems, circumstances, we oftentimes kind of build a big repository, if you will, of helpful knowledge and information. So we can share resources with our clients. We can also talk about the helping process and the role of the social worker and the ways that we can be helpful to them. We can also share with them information about life transitions and family roles and dynamics. Some of that great information you're getting in HIPSI, that is really useful information. A lot of times people simply don't know a lot about a lot of different things. They just kind of live life. They don't have the knowledge to back it up. We also have knowledge of policies and programs that can be helpful to clients. Some of the guidelines when giving information is basically you want to be able to give, key information to the client, but you want to do so in a very planned, thoughtful way. You don't want to overwhelm them. You don't want to sound like you're the expert. You want to talk about how the clients are responding or feeling about the information you're sharing with them. If it's something that it's the first time they've heard that before, they may need some time to let it sink in. So provide it in bits and pieces. You want to also always use your cultural knowledge and sensitivity in the way in which you are sharing information. The purpose of information giving is to educate your clients, not to tell them what to do, not to dictate or judge. So it's important to differentiate between advice giving and sharing information. We are primarily giving clients options. And so you want to spell out that if you do this, here's some possible consequences that might happen. And if they ask you, well, if it were you, what would you do? And clients will sometimes do that. It's important not to share what you would simply say, you know, we'll have so many different approaches and backgrounds, so it's really more important about what you feel like this is the right thing for you to do, and I will support you in what your decision is. That's the way you handle information giving. All right, we'll continue on the next video.